Today's topic is Servitors. As we continue our study of chaos magic, let's learn how to create psychic beings to do our bidding.
Enter a world of enchantment, of enlightenment, Meg's Magical Mansion.
Come, whoever you are, to Meg's Magical Mansion, a virtual guest house for spiritual wayfarers, a place where the ordinary becomes magical, where wisdom is yours for the asking, and where your higher nature is just a wish away. Thanks for joining us here today at the Magical Mansion. I'm Meg with my trusty butler Scallion and my beautiful assistant Miss Alice Pooper. And today we have another exciting episode for you. Do you know what we're talking about today, Scallion?
Sure. I'm not going to tell you.
Well, today's topic is Servitors. I've been promising this episode for a while, and here it is. Today, Scallion, I'm going to talk about how you can create psychic beings of pure energy that you can have working for you to do your bidding. Scallion, I mean, can you imagine, like, you're the butler. What if the butler could make a butler for himself? Wouldn't that be fun?
It's been done already.
See, so Scallion and I know
Meg
that.
doesn't know.
Oh, I encourage you to create servitors and everyone else out there, because why not take the load off of yourself in life? It's so awesome to have these psychic beings that are working on your behalf for as long or as little as you want, doing whatever tasks you assign them. And today, Scallion, we're going to find out how you can create your own servitors to do your bidding. Woohoo!
I'm going to go work on mine.
All right, so let's get started. We're delving deep into Chapter 6 of our book, Condensed Chaos by Peter Hine. And we're going to really get into servitors today. Let's take a look. Today we are focusing in on Chapter 6, Chaos Servitors. So this chapter begins with the concept of evocation, or evoking something. So evocation means to call forth. And the author goes on to say it describes all magical techniques which bring forth some kind of an entity into a defined space. Could be into a bottle or a crystal, or you could bring forth a visualized being as a form with a shape and a character. The practice of evoking has come to be associated with the demons of the grimoires and the Key of Solomon, and so it has somewhat dubious reputation. But in chaos magic, that is not really the case. In chaos magic, when you evoke a spirit, it is usually to get it to perform a task for you. Some think that evocation is to be frowned upon because it's felt that magicians shouldn't order spirits about. But servitors are not spirits that you're capturing to do your bidding. They are low-level, energetic forms that you create for a specific purpose. And part of the plan, as you will see, is also the deconstruction of your servitor, as well as the construction of it. I personally find that using evocation is very helpful and useful technique, and I find it applies to a lot of different situations. So what is a servitor? A servitor is an entity that you consciously create using evocation. They are thought forms. In Tibetan magic, they're known as a tulpas. Servitors can be used to perform a wide variety of tasks and functions on your behalf. Now, one of the reasons that I highly recommend you purchase this book for yourself is he gets into great detail on the servitor design sequence. And you probably will need the book in order to really go through all of these steps yourself properly. Now, again, in chaos magic, there is no right and wrong way, and you might find ways to substitute for some of these steps that or things you're already using or doing. The first thing you want to do is define your general intent for your servitor. Will it be for healing, protection, harmony, success? It helps if you wish to use symbols and magical correspondence when you are creating your servitor. Then you want to bring it down to your specific intent for this servitor. This is where you create the core of your servitor's purpose. Your statement of intent is somewhat akin or like your servitor's DNA. You have to do the deep self-analysis into your motivations and desires, realistic projections of your goal at this step before you formulate the statement of intent to create your servitor. Once you have established your statement, you can go ahead and create some sort of sigil for it. And you can check out our previous episodes on sigils to get more information on how to do that. You want to think about symbols that are appropriate to your servitor's task. You can draw upon the wealth of magical and mythical symbols when you are creating your servitor. And these can be used to represent various qualities, attributes, and ability you want for your servitor. You can also draw upon the symbolism of color, smell, sound, and your other senses. All of these help you program your servitor. The author makes a very important point that symbols are the language of our deep mind, our deep subconscious mind. The deeper an experience becomes embedded in our mind, our deep subconscious mind, the more likely it is that it will become encoded as some sort of symbol. We react very quickly to symbols, and symbols can contain a great deal of information that would otherwise take up too much space in written or auditory form. Road signs are a great example that he gives in this book of you see a road sign and you know exactly what it means. You don't stop and think. You already have a wealth of information on what that sign is telling you. Symbols give us access to areas of our deep subconscious mind with a very quick immediacy and a very strong intensity that written and spoken language just cannot accomplish. And Phil Hine mentions 3 kinds of graphic symbols. First, those which come to us from magical or religious systems that we learn as part of becoming a part of that system. Those that are constructed by a magician for a specific purpose, such as a sigil. And the third one being figures which arise from our deep subconscious mind. All right, then the next 4th step is thinking about whether your servitor has a time factor to consider. What will be the duration of the servitor's operation? Is it going to be ongoing, continuously in operation? Will it operate at specific times? Or perhaps it will function until a specific goal or objective is achieved. You can tie all of these into things like the phases of the moon or astrological conjunctions and add these things into your servitor's instructions. And it's very important to think about what happens to your servitor after it has completed its task. You can encode a self-destruct instruction into your servitor, where the duration of its existence is defined in the terms of the duration of the task or the fulfillment of a specific condition. You can also perform a ritual reabsorption of a servitor and call it back from its task, dismantling it by visualization. It is very important to have a way to close the existence of your servitors as needed. Is a name required for your servitor? Well, not necessarily, but I think it's pretty fun to give your servitor a name myself. And yes, you can name your servitor. The name can be used in addition to the sigil for creating, powering, or controlling your servitor. It helps to kind of create the servitor's persona or personality. The name can reflect the task, or it can be formed from some sort of a mantric sigil based on your statement of intent. Is a material base required? Do you need some sort of physical focus for your servitor to exist? Well, not necessarily, but it can help to define the servitor as an individual entity, and it can be used if you need to recall the servitor for any reason. So some examples of material bases you could use would be bottles, rings, crystals, little figurines. You can use bodily fluids and apply them to your material base to increase the perceived link between the creator and the servitor. But you do not have to keep your servitor tied to a material object if you don't wish to. The servitor can remain freely mobile as an etheric being. For longer-term servitors, a material base can be helpful. You can also create links to your servitor with a specific smell, like a perfume or an essential oil. And when that scent is applied, that would activate the link to your servitor. Is a specific shape required for your servitor? Servitors can be created to have any shape you desire. The shape you choose can add another level of representational identity to your servitor. I personally often create an entire character for my servitor with an appearance that is based on the task I wish them to fulfill. But a common practice is to imagine the servitor as a featureless sphere, pulsing with energy and glowing with some appropriately chosen colors, into which you impress its sigilized instructions. Now, in the book, there is a very detailed servitor launch sequence. I highly recommend you get the book and try it. You may find things you already use and do that fit in different places here, or you might want to go verbatim and do it exactly the way it's suggested in the book. I personally think it's whatever works for you, but you want to start with some sort of a banishing ritual. This clears your space, your energy, the whole area where you're doing your evoking, so that you're not getting any other energies tinged into what you're doing. You can perform one you like, or you can use the one that he provides in the book. I know most people that I'm aware of that do magic or witchcraft have a banishing ritual that they like to perform before they begin doing any kind of ritual. Then you want to get your statement of intent and say it out loud, evoke it, and speak it. Then he has a lightning flash exercise, which is loosely based on the middle pillar exercise used in Western Kabbalah, and it is used for energizing oneself. It is a 7-step exercise he gives in great detail in the book. I highly recommend you try it, or you can use any other rituals you currently have for energizing yourself for magical rituals. He then gives some directions for the Airburst Servitor launching, which is based on the raising the power cone idea from modern Wicca, where you are visualizing a column of pulsating light, which becomes a freestanding stream. He talks about how you form the servitor out of that light and program it, how you power it up with and count it down and then charge the servitor. It is quite explicit in the directions, so I suggest that you try that part. It's really pretty powerful and cool. And you can close by repeating the banishing ritual from the beginning if you so desire. So these kinds of servitors we've been discussing are task-specific servitors, but you can also create general purpose servitors. And these servitors can be created for generalized purposes that many people can access and use. Anyone who knows how to access the servitor can use it, and they can be created by and for groups for broad topics such as health, well-being, increasing one's magical success, and things like that. And you need to remember that each usage of the servitor feeds it and helps it get stronger and better at its job. Each successful result enhances its power. So it's a good habit to attribute any positive occurrences within the sphere of activity to be the work of the servitor and make sure the servitor gets credit for it. But also be aware that certain things can make your servitor go offline, like planetary retrogrades or other such things. And all of a sudden, you might be feeling a little lost without the assistance of your servitor. So always remember, you kind of have to monitor your servitor, make sure you're sort of caring for, feeding, and celebrating all of your servitor's successes. And that will help your servitors stay strong and functioning well for you. You can also create viral servitors. You can instruct servitors to replicate or reproduce themselves. You can have them replicate using like a form of cell division, following cybernetic or viral parameters. Or you can create a servitor that can give birth to another servitor like itself according to particular parameters, like at certain times using time units, astrological transits, or when the target performs a specific behavior. I think the analogy the author makes about the idea that the sigilized statement of intent is like the core program. It's like programming a computer to do a task for you. It's exactly the same. And that sigilized statement of intent is the code that you are using to program your servitor. I personally have already created a number of servitors that are very busy working on different tasks for me and for people that I have sent them out to assist and help as well. Because I also use servitors to go out and work on what I consider or call a target person, and that servitor will be following them around, helping them out, and they won't even know that I'm helping them. This is one way I like to help and protect my loved ones and people I care about from afar. So, if you need a little help around your magical mansion, perhaps you would like to consider creating a servitor to do your psychic bidding. Well, I hope you enjoyed that interesting look at how to create servitors. And I encourage everyone to create some for yourself, for your own health, well-being, success in any area of life that you want to find success in. Maybe work with other people and create some of those group servitors, general servitors that you can work together and share. There's a lot of things you can do. You can use them to help yourself and to help your loved ones. So if you have anything that you have already done as far as creating servitors, or you want to let us know you've used them in your own rituals, let us know down below in the comments what you think of servitors. Because I can tell you from experience, I already have a number of servitors working for me, and they are doing a great job. I'm very pleased with the results so far. And next week, we're going to talk about the rigorous self-analysis and record keeping that proper magicians need to do. So check back then. And remember, in the words of Buddha, 1,000 candles can be lit from a single candle, and the life of the candle will not be shortened. Happiness never decreases by being shared. So thank you for sharing your time and attention with us here at the Magical Mansion. Until next week,